She's back. And by she, I mean me, Harriet Sneesh. And on today's Snoop with Sneesh, she, me, finds herself, myself, on a mission in the glorious gateway to the Yorkshire Dales, Skipton. I want to know why this spectacular sheep-obsessed town is absolutely dripping in heritage. And what better way to kick this adventure off than by sailing into Skipton on heritage itself, the 250-year-old Leeds Liverpool Canal. So get comfy, grab a brew or a cup of tea and come with me, Harriet Sneesh, on another Snoop with Sneesh.
I set off on my quest from Liverpool yesterday morning. After a short 17-hour canal commute, we would shortly be arriving in Skipton. The sheer length of the journey and the total silence held by my skipper Timothy left me plenty of time to reflect on my newest venture, Skipton's heritage. What is heritage? And why do the National Trust seem to have so much of it? And does Skipton even have any?
You wouldn't be the first to think that Skipton is famous for skipping. And you wouldn't be the first to be wrong. In fact, Skipton has absolutely nothing to do with skipping. And as a skipping enthusiast, I was frustrated by the deceitful name. I needed answers. Just been on the old blower to a local farm boy who says he can put the skip in ton and clear up this etymological confusion. What that means, we're about to find out. Farmer Peter! Sneesh!
Sheep farming has been in Farmer Peter's family for generations.
Hey up, Snosh.
His father was a farmer, his father's father was a farmer, but not his father's father's father. He was a pianist and a raging alcoholic.
Very nice, yeah. It's more hill, which is great.
Farmer Peter was keen to give me the real farming experience and trapped me in his little trailer. Unbeknownst to him, this was not my first time travelling by cage. It's actually my third favourite mode of transport, behind the barge and targeted prowling. As we drove up to Park Hill, we were caught in a severe downpour, and although I begged Farmer Peter to let me in, he pretended not to hear me. How I laughed. Formerly owned by the Skipton Castle estate, Farmer Peter is incredibly protective of this magnificent landscape. As we approached his fluffy flock, he regaled me with a heartwarming story of when he chased a group of littering youths off of his land with a shotgun. Now that's what you call direct action.
So, Snesh, I know there's been wanting to get to the bottom of meaning it named Skipton, but there's going to have to earn it. Go on, get these buggers fed. 15 minutes air graft and then I'll get it answered and eats.
Let me at them, Farmer Peter.
Go on, Snesh. Good girl, that's a good girl.
Like most mammals, sheep need food to live, so Farmer Peter was literally putting his livestock in my hands.
I've got what you need!
And although it was my first time engaging with the sheep community, I feel like they accepted me as one of their own.
Bye, yeah, you did bloody brilliant, Snatch.
Thank you.
Now don't tell me you haven't picked up on clue as to why it's called Skipton.
A clue?
Yeah, I mean, it's all around us.
Shit.
No, sheep. Sheep town. Skipton derives its name from the Old English word sheap, meaning sheep, and ton, meaning town. Ergo, sheep town, skip town.
So absolutely nothing to do with skipping then?
I'm afraid not, no.
Disappointing.
I'm sorry to disappoint so early, Snosh.
Sneesh.
Bless you. But I can tell you a bit about this land if they like.
Oh, that'd be great actually. Yeah.
Right. So if they look over there, right, you'll see a slightly raised mound.
I've got a slightly raised mound.
You've earned it, Smeesh. Well, that's what we call a battery mound. And back in Civil War, Cromwell had used that to place artillery and fire and batter Skipton Castle, which you can see peeking through the trees just over there.
Well, Farmer Peter, I'll soon be peeking through the trees because Skipton Castle's the next stop on the Heritage Express. Choo choo! Thanks for everything!
No problem, Squeak.
It's Sneesh!
With Farmer Peter's words ringing in my ears, I ventured forth toward the bricky bosom of Skipton Castle, where I was meeting my guide, Hamish McAnderson. Upon our very first meeting, it became instantly clear to me that he had a substantial amount of seeds in his teeth. Once upon a time an employee of the castle, he now does tours covertly.
So, Hamish, do you absolutely love this castle?
I certainly have a soft spot for her, that's for sure. She's very special. One of the best preserved and most complete castles in all of England. She's a tough old bird. And I like rough women.
Me too.
Although Hamish shared my fondness for hardy females, he did not extend that courtesy to the castle's detailed colour brochure. In his words, "There's more castle in me than in that filth rag."
She is quite an impressive structure, Hamish. Has she always been this sturdy?
Well, that's a very good question, Harriet. You see, over 900 years ago, around 1090 AD, our Skipton Castle here was just a simple fort. And that meant that she was under constant bombardment from
Scottish Raiders! Yes, this is all in the brochure.
The brochure's going to put me out of work. Maybe I'll just fuck off back to bed. Come on, lots to see.
Hamish's tour was a bit more intense than one would expect. Which is exactly why I hired him. When researching for my ideal castle chaperone, I stumbled upon a tour guiding blacklist. And bingo! I found my man. One of the forums on UK Castles Unite gossiped about his temporary ban from the castle for trespassing. Desperate for money, he regularly reoffends and continues to guide at a cutthroat price.
And welcome to Conduit Fort.
Wow.
It's quite something, isn't it? Now, I understand you've been away to Park Hill and had a chat with Farmer Peter.
Yes, that's right.
Well, Park Hill actually has a very deep historical connection to Skipton Castle. Due to its clear view of the grounds during the Civil War, parliamentarian forces created these
Battery mounds! Yes! Farmer Peter pointed them out to me. What an outright piece of heritage.
Oh, well, excellent. Maybe Farmer Peter should be doing this bloody tour instead of me then, since he's the expert. And I'll just away and fuck myself up the arse, shall I?
I sensed something was bothering Hamish, but I couldn't quite grasp what it was. He was certainly a very passionate man, and his knowledge about Skipton Castle was almost as good as the information found in the brochure. And although the sheer volume of visible seeds in his teeth proved a great distraction, I threw myself into his many immersive tour segments so as not to rile him. Once our sweat had dried off, we ventured forth into the herb garden, where Hamish continued to tell me about war.
During the English Civil War of the 17th century, Skipton Castle was notable as the final stronghold for the Royalists in northern
They
England.
held out for 3 years, didn't they?
Yes, well done for reading that correctly. The Royalists were holding out against Oliver Cromwell's parliamentarian forces before finally losing in...
1645.
How'd you like that, eh? You fucking brochure up my arse! Who's more useful now, eh? You got any wee fun facts to teach us, you bastard? I've been with this castle for 15 years and then suddenly you come along and I'm surplus to requirement. Well, you can sniff my Toby, you bastard. I am better than you. You cheat.
absolute privilege it is to be able to walk amongst such an important piece of Skipton's heritage. It truly is a tribute to the people of Skipton that the castle is still standing today. And although times must have been hard, you can really sense that there were some happy memories created here. After seeing such a large piece of heritage in the form of Skipton Castle, I fancied some little heritage titbits. I found myself amongst a positive bounty of heritage at Skipton's Craven Museum, where I met Museums and Collections Officer Egglantine Pheppits. Craven Museum is a genuine treasure trove of full-on Skipton heritage. All the products seem to be correctly labelled, but I couldn't find a price anywhere. Eglantine was absolutely fine with my compulsion to touch everything. She positively encouraged it. I am a firm believer in if you like it, touch it. And I did like it. And I did touch it. I'm here with Skipton's very own Museum and Collections Officer, Egglantine Pheppits. As I'm sure you're aware, Eglantine, I'm here on a mission to find out all about Skipton's heritage. But I thought that heritage was just about old and boring stuff. Are you old and boring?
I don't know, Harriet. Would an old and boring person literally wear heritage?
You call this heritage? I was on a battery mound this morning.
Oh, so you want some heritage, do you? Yeah. Craven Museum is simply a rich swamp of heritage. Try this on for size. Happens to the best of us. Craven Museum is one of only 4 places in the world to have a first folio permanently on display. Yeah. Oh. And this year we celebrate the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's first folio.
Wow! Now this is heritage. Where have you been all my life? Now I don't mean to be rude, Eglantine, but how in the hell did you manage to get one of only 4 of Shakespeare's first folios here in Skipton?
Well, it was actually a bequest from the sister of a man called John James Wilkinson, who we believe purchased the book around 1900.
7 o'clock.
Oh. Yes, and John was an amateur playwright, and he actually co-wrote a play about Skipton.
I adore theatre.
Well, you're in luck. My sister Leopoldine is the chair of Skipton Little Theatre. It's just round the corner. I'm sure you can slurp up plenty of heritage from her.
Fantastic. I'm parched.
Anyway, shall we?
Let's. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house, in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Wow. Leopoldine, has anyone actually told you that you look just like your sister?
I don't know why people keep saying that to me.
Oh. Anyway, I hear that you're quite the connoisseur when it comes to the heritage of Skipton Little Theatre.
Previously used as an antique dealer's storeroom, these former stables were bought in 1959 after years of struggling by Skipton Little Theatre players. They saved as hard as they can, and then, after years of trying, it was bought for the princely sum of £250.
Wow. That's great. I'd certainly pay £250 for my dream to come true. Or for my dad to speak to me again.
Twat! Steve's dropped out again. I told you this would happen.
Oh God.
I told you he couldn't be trusted. Especially since he's got this new woman. He's probably rogering her right now.
Angus, please.
I'm not doing that. I could be. I could board the beef bus Leo. He doesn't deserve the part of Lieutenant Bogg.
Angus!
I'm there week in, week out, because people deserve their twice weekly reenactment.
Don't you think I know that? This is the second week he hasn't turned up in a row, and I had to deal with it last time.
You fucking bitch.
I used to be someone, and then you came into my life, and ever since then it's just been reenactment this, reenactment that, reenactment! And I don't want to do it anymore. Maybe I don't want to do it anymore.
Fuck off. He told me he loved me.
I hate my life now. I hate it.
This Saturday is going to be my last fucking performance.
Don't you dare.
Yes, I will. I will.
Steve already, and I can't lose you as well.
I'll tell Sarah myself. That.
Fetch me my helmet. I shall be your Lieutenant Bogg. That's right. The story goes like this. A couple of Cromwell's soldiers arrive at the oldest drinkery in Skipton. They sit, maybe talk about who they killed that day. A buxom barmaid bounces over to their table. What's this? Ale on the house, you say? Distracted by her breasts, the men don't notice the poison lurking within their beverages. And before you can even say the word heritage, they have absolutely drank them. The next few moments are marked by horror, as one after the other, the brave men fall to their knees for the very last time.
It's about 8 months we've been doing this now.
Yeah, every Wednesday and Saturday.
Yeah, which seems like a lot, but it brings in the tourists.
Yeah, the
Lieutenant Bogg, at your command.
Okay, so have you learned your lines?
Have you learnt your lines?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so it's absolutely essential that we nail the realism of the deaths. If the audience senses even a hint of fakery, it's over. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, right, we've got a bit of time before we open. Let's just quickly rehearse the deaths.
Oh. So...
No. It's more like this. Yeah? No. More like this. Okay? No. Like this. Okay?
I knew I had to nail this death before my highly anticipated debut, which was mere moments away. The audience were almost battering the door down and were basically breathing down our collective neck. I couldn't let Angus down, but by Jameson, he was a tough act to follow.
Hear ye, friends and countrymen. The performance is about to commence. Please take your seats.
My thirst is in need of quenching.
Mine and yours both, sir. Wench, fetch us 2 ales, and don't dawdle if you want to keep your tits.
What have I told you about speaking to the wenches like that?
Sorry, sir.
With thanks, fair maiden.
To a mild winter.
That concludes the reenactment. We wish you a speedy return. We're back next Wednesday. Please tell your fellow travellers.
As I sat dead at the table of this ancient pub, I thought about what heritage means to me. To Sneesh. I guess I used to think that heritage was just about stone walls, castles and old spoons with holes in them. But now that I've spent time amongst the foliage of Skipton's warm heritage embrace, I realise that it's more than that. It's about the traditions that we keep alive. The stories that we pass on. The history we defend. The artifacts we cherish. The wisdom we bestow onto one another. The communities we build. And what, you may ask, is Sneesh's heritage? Well, maybe it's this. Right now, you and me, together, and the wisdom I pass on to you.
And thus concludes the conquering of Skipton's heritage. When we're all dead and in the ground, when the dust settles and the final foundations of Skipton Castle crumble, heritage is what we will leave behind. And there's one thing you're sure to find in this little sheep town I've come to respect of it, and that's heritage. Shout it from the rooftops! Pass it on! Heritage is back! Until another Snoop with Sneesh. I've been Sneesh. And this has been Skipton's heritage. Goodbye.